Hello guys, I'm Mechanic Bright. Today I'm gonna show how to replace turbocharger assembly Broncosport and Escape 1.5 liter. Most of similar, but this Broncosport 1.5 liter whistling noise while accelerating. Also, when I grab actuator, turbocharger actuator, its rattling noise is too much. There are so many symptoms: turbocharger failing, loss of engine power, slow accelerating, whining, whistling, kind of noisy and excessive smoke, and then reduce the fuel economy and also check engine line on. If that has some kind of symptom, you need a turbocharger. Let's go. First, remove air cleaner box and tubes. Remove retainer and disconnect intake temperature sensor. And then loose the clamp, and then remove whole air cleaner outlet pipe and then air cleaner box. Disconnect the auto sensor connectors and for the side wire, and then remove turbocharger intake tube, hold bolt. There are connectors connected charge air cooler turbo tube, and then disconnect this tube and the vacuum line from this tube, and this one is one-time uses it. Break and out, but my case just put aside to hold together like this. If warranty, it covered the new one. And then top side, you guys can work and lose the catalytic converter clamp. After losing the catalytic converter and the turbocharger clamp, and then remove the top side auto sensor, and then there are 3 heat shield bolts. And then you guys can work the top side of the engine and then remove this heat shield and bolt. And then refer the other my video catalytic converter removal video. That's much easier to access and remove catalytic converter. And then you guys watch down the link. Disconnect the battery top post and then remove the whole air cleaner box. And then now need a transmission neutralize. That because next step, I just take out the shift cable from the lever, and then using the disc bolt and attach that side, and then pull that way lever and then tied on the cable tie. That is the neutral position. You guys next rear drive shaft remover, you need a neutralize. So there's a raise up the vehicles on the hoist or your garage. And the next step, the drain coolant. Drain plug is so much harder to access the bottom of the radiator. My case disconnects this transmission cooler line, much easy. Remove on the skid plate on the cover, and the front side big and about the back side 2 long one and a small one also. And disconnect the catalytic converter to the muffler. This is one-time use this clamp. And then remove muffler hole assembly. You need an assistant person. Next, remove your drive shaft. That's why we needed to rotate. And then front and back drive shaft bolt, and then center bearing support nut. And then remove hole assembly and then put aside. Next step, right hand front wheel, and then axle shaft access to the PTU, and then separate the ball joint from the knuckle. And then remove right-handed axle shaft hole assembly. And then you guys see that this turbocharger outlet tube. And then next remove this turbocharger outlet tube. And then intermediate shaft hold bolt 2 is here. And then remove bolt. And then using the other bolt and then tighten and then push out this whole intermediate shaft assembly from the PTU. Maybe drop the transmission fluid. You guys need to drain the transmission fluid. Remember that once the remove intermediate shafts, need a new seal, this one. You guys can now remove catalytic converter. I already removed the catalytic converter. I already talked to you and then reported my video. And then now much easier to access rest of the PTU and then turbocharger. Now first you guys PTU heat shield. There are 3 8mm heat shield bolts attached right there, and then remove bolt and then remove heat shield from the PTU assembly. And then there are bleed tube attach the PTU and then disconnect and put aside, and then disconnect electric connector and then retainer from the PTU. There are 5 PTU mount bolts, top side 2 and bottom side 3. This bolt attach the rock pipe, so it's so much harder to remove. This video is a quick look, and then I disconnected electric connector and then from the PTU and the top side 2 bolts, and then look at the bottom side 3 bolts, almost loose, and I just showing where a bolt is the PTU to the transmission. Yeah, it's so much harder because there are thread rocks sealant too much. And the workshop says all the time replace this bolt, and I remove a PTU assembly. PTU small bracket and attach the right side cylinder block. There's a triangle type bracket, has a top 2 bolts, side 2 bolts, and then remove this bracket from the PTU, and then remove top side PTU mount 2 bolt, and then bottom side 3 mount bolt, and then you guys ready to remove PTU from the transmission. Just wiggling out, lean down like this, and then remove between subframe the engine, and then always replace this new compression seal when I put it back to the PTU. Also, I recommend need a new 5 bolts. Next, remove turbocharger outlet adapter from the turbocharger, and then remove oil return tube top side T30 and then bottom to the block, and then 8mm. Remove oil return tube, and then there are 2 coolant supply return tube to the turbocharger, and remove bolt, and then remove 2 oil coolant tubes. Little bit tricky oil supply tube, top side bolt, and then start bit, and then middle of turbo bracket hold bolt, and the bottom side 8mm, and then remove whole this bracket and bottom hold bolt, and then just wiggling and then kind of sticking, and then spray the silicone spray the connector area, and then wiggling top side bottom side, and then just take out from the turbocharger and cylinder block. Now ready for removal turbocharger, and then remove turbocharger port nut, and then mount to the cylinder head. And then remove, after the removal turbocharger port nut, and just wiggling, and then you guys can take out the turbocharger from the cylinder head. .15 small engine. That means the turbocharger also small one. You guys handled your one hand like me, and then I got the turbocharger from the cylinder head. And then there are gasket hold 10mm, and then remove gasket from the cylinder head, and then just in case, and then remove turbocharger mount stud as well. You guys needed to replace it, and then clean up the cylinder head surface, and then install the turbocharger mount stud and then gasket, and then tighten the 10mm. Transfer tighten the turbocharger adapter stud is 44 inch-pound. And then remember that turbocharger mount stud is 89, and now attach the turbocharger to the cylinder head, and then do not tighten it at this time, just attach the turbocharger to the cylinder head, and then first install oil return tube, because wiggling turbocharger is much easier to access into the oil return tube. And then all of return tube is 89 inch-pound, and then also now it's the sequence is pretty much specific, and then right top, left, right bottom, left bottom, and left top, and then this sequence, and then tighten the turbocharger mount nut. and then installed and then tighten the lower oil return tube, and then put the installed oil supply tube, and then attach the sum of oil, smeared oil to the O-ring, and then install the heat shield, and then replace the coolant tube O-rings, and then attach the coolant tube. You guys can work the top side or bottom side either. And install the turbocharger assemblies now. Install PTU, power transfer unit, and also catalytic converter as in reverse of remover. It's hard to install catalytic converter, so you guys need to help another assistant person, and attach the bottom. Do not tighten at this time, just loose attach the bottom catalytic converter bracket, and the top side first line up wiggling, and then line up arrow marked, and then tighten the top side catalytic turbocharger clamps, and then put the back to the auto sensor, and then now make sure the top of the transmission fluid, and then top of the coolant, and then load the test, verify the repair. Thank you for watching.